unfortunately, a lot of websites, they kind of fall flat with their audience. They're not really doing a good job of generating leads. Hey there, you landed on this video because you are thinking about building a new website, or maybe you need to spruce up the website that you already have. I want to invite you to grab a pen and paper and take some notes during this, because I am going to share with you the years and years and years, decades, that makes me seem old, of experience that I have building websites for coaches, consultants, and service business owners. And I'm going to share with you the things that you need to think about before you start building a website, and the things to consider about building a website, so that you can make a really informed decision and go into this knowing what you need to do in order to have a website that actually works for you. There's nothing more awful that I could imagine than investing tons of time and sweat equity and effort and money, right? Investing money, all of these things into building a website and then having it not work for you. So that's what we're going to prevent with today's video. And I'm going to walk you through all the things you need to know before you start building a website. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what makes a great website? You know, if you stop and you think about the websites that you visit on a regular basis, the websites that you love, the websites that you land on, and it just sort of goes, this place feels good. I want to hang out here some more. What is it about them that makes you feel that way? What makes you return to them over and over and over again? It could be the way that they look. It could be the information that they have. Maybe it's how they function. Maybe it's the content and how it makes you feel. Then think about the websites that make you feel frustrated, the ones that are like a little irritating, or you're trying to do something and it's just not working the way that you want, or you're looking for something and you can't find it. You know, it's really important to think about your website from, yes, the business perspective and what you need to get out of it, but probably even more importantly, your user's perspective and why they're there and what they need to get out of it. So I've got some things to think about to help you with this part and make sure that you end up with a website that actually helps you reach your goals, but helps your ideal clients reach theirs too, because that's what really matters. And that's what's going to make the difference between them saying yes and hiring you, or no, I'm going to go with somebody else. First step is list the websites that you love, okay? And look at them with a critical eye. What is it about them that you like so much? And then list the websites that kind of frustrate you or are kind of difficult to use, and list the things about that make them hard to use. What do you like and dislike about your existing website? And what do you really want in a new website? Like, how will this new website help you reach your goals? What frustrations can it take away from you? How can it make the process of running your business more smoothly? You know, we often think about, the landing pages and the website homepage and the about page and whatever, but there's a lot of functionality that you can add into your website that can take away some of the hustle and the heavy lifting that you have to do in your marketing and in your business. So make a list of the things that frustrate you about your existing website and the things that you would love to have in your dream website. And then take a look at it too, like if your website were performing for you, what goals would it be achieving? What's the goal of your website? What is it actually doing for you? And when you think of your business goals, how can your website help facilitate you reaching those? And the next thing is we want to have a website that functions well. And the rule of thumb in conversion optimization is when they land on their site, if they have to click more than twice to find what they need, they're going to go away. And to make matters even worse, a HubSpot survey showed that 88% of consumers are unlikely to return to a website with a bad user experience. So you need to make sure that the site that you design is really organized, it's user-friendly, people can find what they need, they can use it without having to think, right? We don't want them to have to work hard to figure out what it is that you do and how to work with you. And it's really common for people, and I've had this too, okay, this happens to all of us, but we start off with a clean, organized website, and then we're like thinking about launching a program or adding a new lead magnet, or, I want to add this to my site and that to my site. And before you know it, You end up with what we call a Frankenstein website. It's like one of those big, old, beautiful houses that's been added onto over and over and over again, and it's completely lost the flow of the floor plan. And so be critical. Look at your website with a critical eye. And where do you need to cut some things away? Where are there things that no longer resonate with you and the offers that you provide? Has your audience changed? You know, lots of times when we're in business, we get a little closer to the people that we're meant to serve and a little further away from the people that really weren't that great fit for us. And so your audience is likely to evolve. You know, when I got started, I was working with a lot of financial advisors and a lot of, various types of businesses. And the more that I kept going, the more I started attracting more coaches and getting referrals from coaches and things like that. And it's sort of like my niche evolved as I worked with new people and got more referrals from happy clients and things like that. So take a look at your website, look at the messaging, look at the photos, look at the pages that you have on the site, the interactive elements, whether it's your request to quote form or a lead magnet that you have. Do those things still fit with your business? And make a list of the things that might be missing, right? Like, are there things that your website doesn't have that it really needs to have? And so go ahead and make a list of the things that you need right now in your business, as well as the things you'd love to add down the future. It would really stink to take all the time and money to build a website and then 6 months later realize you want to add a membership or you want to add e-commerce or something like that, and the platform that you're on and the tools that you're using aren't compatible with that future growth. So we want to be thinking like 6 months, a year, 2 years down the road of what your plans are, so that when we design your site right now, we're being smart about it and we're building something that is going to grow with your business. The next thing I recommend you do is create a site map. Okay, a site map is really like a flow chart of the different pages that you have on your website. It's going to start with the home page at the top, and then if you think of a website and the navigation menu across the top, what are those top level navigation items? I recommend that you have maybe 3 to 5, absolute max 5 to 7. The fewer navigation items you have, the less people are going to get lost or not know where to go on your website. So you want to keep them really streamlined. For coaches, we typically have we have a services or a products page, we have a contact, maybe a blog or podcast page, and then testimonials. Now, some people like to have sub-services pages where each service that you provide is its own little sales page, or each digital course or membership has its own sales page, and that's totally fine. But in your navigation menu, we want to keep it really, really streamlined. And so people want to know when they land there, like, who are you, right? Like the About You page. They also want to know what services you offer, and they want a way of getting in touch with you. And also having those testimonials can help because it shows social proof, right? It shows that you've been successful with other people. Now, there are some hidden pages that we always have on a website that don't necessarily have to be in the navigation menu, but they need to be accessible. One of them is your schedule page. We want people to be able to book an appointment with you. So we want to take your online scheduler, whether you're using Calendly or TidyCal, which is my favorite, Acuity, any of those, we want to embed them on a page on your website so that people can click to that page and book an appointment with you. And the reason we do it as a page on your site rather than having it be like just setting them to your scheduler is that if you ever want to change schedulers, you now have a bunch of broken links. Whereas if you embed that on your schedule page, you can pop whatever embed code you need from whatever scheduler you're currently using and not have broken links online. There are things that you're going to have as far as other hidden pages as well. One of them would be like an opt-in landing page for your lead magnet or some sort of freebie that you're offering. You may have a resources page that you share with clients, like these are the tools that I recommend that you use or the resources that I'd like you to check out. You may have an application to book a clarity call or discovery call with you so that you can filter out the tire kickers and make sure that you aren't wasting your time with people who aren't a fit it and help you get to know the people who are booking a call so that you can make the most of your time together. You'll probably want to have a link tree page if you've been on Instagram or whatever, and people will say link in bio. They send a link to their link tree page. Well, there's a lot of platforms that you can pay for to have a link tree page, but why not just build it on your website and save yourself the money, and you've got people on your website that helps drive traffic to your site. So I recommend always including a link tree page if you're doing social media and interacting on social media. You're probably going to want to have a 404 page. A 404 page is the page that someone goes to by mistake. Like if they click on a broken link, it's going to take them to a 404 page. And instead of just saying, oops, the page that you were trying to find no longer exists, or you hit a dead end somewhere, let's optimize that page. Put your opt-in for your lead magnet there, or tell them a little bit about your programs, or invite them to follow you on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever platform you use. You're also going to want in your footer some pages that are visible. People can get to them in their footer, but they're not going to be in that top level navigation. And some examples of that would be your privacy policy and your terms of service. You're going to need a cookie policy too for privacy laws. That's important. If you're e-commerce, maybe you want to have a shipping policy or return policy. If you are a coach or a financial advisor who's dealing with weight loss or money or health or anything along those lines, you may want to have a disclaimer on there. And so those are links that you want to consider having in your footer navigation. So I recommend sitting down. Sometimes it's easier to do this like in a mind mapping program, or maybe you want to do this just in a notebook where you're drawing it out. But draw out the sitemap or the structure of your website and the pages that you want to have. Make a note of which ones will be visible in the navigation, which ones might be visible under a drop down, which ones will be in the footer navigation, and which ones will be on the site but not visible to the public. The next thing is make a list of your dream website wish list. Okay, so when you build a site that grows with your business, we want to include the things that you're going to need in the next 1 to 2 years. For example, are you going to have a blog? A lot of people, there's a lot of content to create when building a website, so they're not ready for a blog right away, but they know they want to have one. Maybe a podcast. Maybe you've got a podcast and you want to integrate that into your website. You're definitely going to want lead capture forms. I don't recommend ever building a website that doesn't have those. And you're definitely going to want an appointment scheduler. The one that I love is TidyCal, but again, like I already shared, you're going to want to embed that on a page on your website. Are you going to need memberships? Are you going to have like a membership program where you want to be able to gate content behind a login for paying members? Maybe you're going to have courses, right? Like, do you have workshops or courses that you want people to be able to go through in an organized way where they can go through the different lessons and the modules? Are you selling a bunch of products? If you're only selling a few things, I recommend just maybe using a Stripe link to do that. But if you are selling a lot of different products, or you want to be able to offer auto ship on your products or something like that, then you definitely want to consider e-commerce. Maybe you want to have a directory where you're working with a bunch of different people and you want to put them all into a directory and provide a directory for people to be able to find other providers or find different locations on a map. How about event registration? Do you do live events, or do you do like online events like webinars and you want people to be able to register for those? Maybe you need a quiz or a survey. Those can be really good for generating leads and learning more about your audience. Are you a health coach who might want to have recipe cards on your website so that you can share healthy recipes? Maybe you want to have something interactive like a live chat widget. I recommend having Google Analytics so that you can track what people are doing on your website and know what you need to do to improve it. You're probably going to want to have a Facebook pixel if you're doing any advertising on Instagram or Facebook. Maybe you want to embed your Instagram feed on your About page so that people can see what you're posting and learn a little bit more about you. If you have a blog, having a related post widget can be really helpful because it will keep people on your site and reading more, and it will make it so that, related posts, similar posts, let's say they're landing on my website and they want to learn about planning and productivity, I can have a bunch of that stuff there so that they can kind of binge the content. You're definitely going to want to have social media sharing buttons on any content that you have. For example, your blog posts or your podcast, or maybe you have a video blog that you're embedding. You're going to want people to be able to share that content. Do you need downloadable documents? I work with a lot of health coaches who have forms that they need people to download. Maybe you want to have like a document library for people to be able to download PDFs or fillable forms or things that they need. If you have a physical business, you're probably going to want to have Google Maps on your website. And a lot of people, depending on the type of business, like I've worked with some home organizers and some home decorators and interior designers and things, that having a gallery or a portfolio is really nice for that. So make a list of the elements that you'd love to have in your website. The next thing is what platform are you going to use for your website? Now, we design on WordPress. We love and recommend WordPress. There are other platforms out there. And so I recommend taking a look at the platforms that you are interested in and the capabilities as well as the limitations, okay? And make a decision based on this list of what you need in your business now versus what you might need in a year or two, and make a decision on the platform based on that. As far as the look and feel of your site, all of the platforms are going to have pretty themes or pretty, templates that you can use. And even if you find, let's say you find a Squarespace template that you really like, we can build that on WordPress. The reason I love WordPress is that it integrates with just about everything, and I think of it kind of like a big clump of clay. We can mold it into anything we need it to be. There are plugins that add functionality to WordPress, and there's some confusion sometimes about WordPress because people will look at it and think, there's WordPress.com and then there's a self-hosted WordPress site. Which do I go with? I always recommend that you go with a self-hosted WordPress site. And what that means is you set up a hosting account and you install the WordPress software on that. And it is your site, you own it. The WordPress.com platform is great for bloggers who are just getting started or things like that, but there's a lot of limitations. You can't always use the plugins that you want or do the things that you need because WordPress owns it. You are basically renting space from WordPress on that. Whereas if you have a self-hosted website, you can use the open source WordPress software to power your website, but it's yours and you get to do whatever you want to with it. So let's have a little bit of a heart-to-heart about landing page builders, okay? In my position, a lot of people will ask me, should I be using something like Lead Pages or ClickFunnels or ConvertKit, Kartra, Kajabi? Almost every email marketing platform has landing page capability built into it. And they're all great platforms, but if you have a website, a WordPress site especially, you may not need them. And you're probably going to end up paying for things that your website already does. And for me, I'm all about using our resources wisely. So we shouldn't have to pay for platforms if we already own a platform that already does that thing. So I can build the landing pages and the funnels right in my WordPress site without adding another monthly subscription to my overhead and without having to learn a new platform. And so before you jump into another subscription for a landing page builder or a platform or really any kind of marketing tool, I recommend to look at the hidden costs, okay? First of all, do you want to sign up for this monthly expense? Second, do you have other tools that already do this? How long will it take you to master the platform? What additional tools are you going to need to make that platform integrate with the other tools that you use? And always remember that simple scales and complex fails. So the more tools you plug together and try to talk to each other and integrate, each one of those is a different point of failure. And so something could be broken in your marketing and you don't even know it because a connection got broken or disconnected, or maybe something got updated on one platform and the other platform can't talk to it anymore. Whatever it is, it makes it harder for you to keep track of things. And the more platforms you have, when you get to the point that you're ready to hire a VA or a team to help you, it gets harder and harder to find the right person because they may not know that platform. So I always recommend, as far as signing up for landing page builders and email marketing tools and all of these different things, to keep it as simple as possible and don't overcomplicate it. So let's talk funnels. Okay, a website is basically like a digital brochure that tells people about your business and what you do. But we want to add some interactive elements into it that are going to take the visitors that land on your site and invite them to become a lead, and give you their email address. We also want to make sure that we have a way for them to book an appointment with you. And we want to have some interactive elements that are going to take them from just browsing your website to actually showing some interest in your business. And we do this by having a marketing funnel. And there's a lot of different funnels, and every business is going to need its own kind of funnel based on the goals that you have. But the funnels that we typically build are appointment funnels. So that's when someone lands on your website, getting them opted in and warmed up so that they book an appointment with you for a discovery call or a sales call. Sometimes we'll do sales funnels as well. If you have a membership, or maybe you have like a digital product that you want to sell with upsells and downsells, those are really popular for us to build as well. So I absolutely recommend having a funnel built into your website, not a separate platform if you can help it. And that way you can guide people through the different steps of the buying process until they are ready to work with you, until you've had a chance to develop that know, like, and trust and rapport with them. So the next thing is how are you going to stand out from the competition online? We want to talk about branding, and branding goes so much more beyond your fonts and your colors and your photos, okay? Your branding captures the essence of who you are and what you do and why others should care about it. Consistent branding, it ties in your social media and your website channels and your marketing assets, and it tells a story to your ideal clients about what it is that they could achieve with working with you. It paints a picture of what that end result could be, the life they could be living after hiring you. It creates connection, and having consistency in your branding builds trust. When your branding is inconsistent, you create some dissonance in your messaging, and subconsciously that makes your ideal clients kind of not really trust you, right? So we want to be able to do that. Some journaling prompts for you to think about that is, what do you see your brand? How do you see your brand? Like, what is the personality of your brand? What is the mission and the values of your brand? Give me 5 adjectives that describe your brand. And how do you want your website visitors to feel when they land on your site or when they land on your social media profiles? What is the vibe that you want your website to have? And then think about the colors and the fonts and the imagery and the things that are going to help express that vibe. What is the messaging that's going to help them feel that connection, that vibe from you? Speaking of photos and images, another mistake a lot of people make is they'll just go to Google and be like, I'm going to search for an image, and they'll take it and they'll use it on their website. You could run into some copyright issues with that. I don't ever recommend that. I recommend using a stock photo site in order to get any stock photos. Some examples of some free ones would be Unsplash, there's Pexels, there's Pixabay. Some others that you might consider would be Stock Adobe or Deposit Photos, something along those lines. Ultimately, I recommend avoiding the stock photos if you can and using your own pictures. So having a branding photo shoot where basically you work with a photographer to get some photos of you in action, maybe working with clients, some lifestyle photos of you at home, some product photography if you're selling any digital products. You want to have pictures that are yours, if at all possible. It's going to be much warmer. It's going to build relationships so much faster, and you are going to connect with those visitors much easier than you would with stock photography. Let's talk about copy. Okay, website copy is so important, and a lot of people just don't give it that importance. They just sort of put some stuff up and they talk about their business and they put that out there, and they wonder why people aren't connecting. I did a YouTube video a couple years ago that went over really well, but it was kind of funny. It was talking about how my daughter had gone on a date with a boy who did nothing but talk about himself. And she came home and was just so incredibly bored and irritated. A lot of business websites, they talk about themselves. They talk about what it is that they do. They're not necessarily talking about their ideal clients and the results that they can expect. And they're not connecting with the pain and the frustration and the overwhelm that they might be feeling. And so I recommend recommend that you take a look at your copy and run it through the filter of your ideal clients. When they land on it, they're thinking, am I in the right place? And is this what I'm looking for? And everything on your site should be about them. It should be about them in the way that you help them solve their problems. So Story Brand by Donald Miller, excellent book. I recommend reading that. But it basically teaches that you are going to create copy that positions you as the trusted guide and your ideal clients as the hero of the story. And they have a problem to solve, and you're there to help them solve it. So read through your copy, and you should be saying you and we way more than you're saying I and me and us. You want to talk about your clients as, you being a partner with them, and you want to talk about them. So instead of I offer this, you may be looking for that. Okay. So you want to sort of change the copy so that it's using more you rather than more I type of language. And when you do decide to work with a website designer, whether it's us or whether it's somebody else, you need to have your copy ready to go. And so it's important to know, are you writing your copy yourself? And are you interested in working with someone on your copy? So for example, we help you with your copy. We offer copy coaching for those who need it. Or maybe you've already hired a copywriter to create the messaging on your website, and you just need to give it to us to do the design aspects. So some tips to help you write your own copy. And I love it when people do write their own copy, because it sounds like you, right? Like you're writing it, it's going to sound like you, so that when you get on a discovery call with somebody or they see you in their marketing, it feels like you and not somebody else. And so create tiny little bites of content that your visitors can skim through. Use bulleted lists, use numbered lists, break things up with pictures, use little captions and little tiny chunks of copy. Don't give them a big wall of text, or, don't make your about page your whole life story. Break it up and make it skimmable. Focus on the reader, not you. I've already talked to you about that. And you want to speak directly with them. Like, are you looking for, or maybe you're feeling. Don't presuppose that they are feeling a certain way, because that can turn some people off. But, pulling that in, it's going to show that you understand what they're going through. You understand your ideal clients, and that's going to go a long way towards building trust. Use your clients' words in your copy so that they feel like you're reading their mind. So, for example, if you have discovery call applications and people are typing in certain phrases, I need help with whatever, you talk about your business differently than your audience talks about your business, because you have that curse of knowledge, as they say. You know the jargon, you know the lingo, you know what things are called. For me, I'll talk a lot about funnels, and then I forget that not everybody knows what a funnel is. And I have to really consciously go back and talk about, how are you going to get people to give you their contact information, instead of just, throwing it around as a lead generation, right? Like, how are you going to get people to give you their information so that you can follow up with them and build a relationship? So make your language easy for people who aren't necessarily at your level of knowledge to understand. Every page on your website needs to have a next step. We don't want any dead ends. So make sure that on all of the pages that you're writing copy, you do have a call to action or next step that you want them to take. You also want to make sure that you're using keywords and keyword phrases, and you're structuring the page so that the search engines know what it's all about. And so if you Googled some basic SEO, and I'll be doing some future content on that for you guys as well, but you want to be able to have your keywords in your headlines and in your subheadings and in your alt tags on your images and sprinkled in throughout your copy, so that the search engines know what the page is about and you have a chance of getting indexed and ranked in the search engines. And make it easy for your ideal clients to get in touch with you on every single page of your website, whether it's a link to your contact page or you have a book a discovery call button or anything along those lines. You want to be able to make it easy for them to get in touch with you and be yourself. Okay, that is a big thing. People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And if you are trying to squeeze yourself into some copy template and you're using someone else's language and you're, not yourself, your audience is going to feel that. And so the more you that you can be, the more you're going to attract your ideal clients and people who would love to work with you and people who you love helping, because they're going to connect with you and they're the right type of people to work with. So building your website dream team. Okay. You can't just go hire any old designer and get a website that you love. Think about who you want to work with and think about your budget. Okay. Agencies tend to be a little bit higher than freelancers. They also tend to have a better track record and a team to support you so that the project actually gets done. For example, freelancers, they may be doing this as a side gig and they are working a full-time job, and it can take a lot longer. When you're working with an agency or you're working with a designer, definitely consider their background. Okay, a lot of people have been trained in design. They understand aesthetics. They can build you a really pretty website. All right, that's important, right? You want to have a site you're proud to promote, that people land on and think, oh, this is beautiful. But it has to be designed from a marketing perspective. Otherwise, you end up with that digital brochure that looks good, but it's buried in Google and it's not getting any traffic. And people who do find it through your social media or whatever, it's not converting. And so make sure that you are working with someone who is designing websites from a marketing perspective, not just an aesthetic perspective. You're also going to probably want to consider a copywriter or a copy coach to help you create the copy for your website, maybe a photographer to do some of those branding lifestyle photos or product photography that you might need. You're probably going to want someone to help with graphic design for your lead magnet and those kind of, YouTube thumbnails or whatever it is that you're doing in order to promote yourself. Someone with the legal who can help you with like the privacy and the terms and the cookie policies and those kind of things. There are tools that you can use. You don't have to have an attorney to do this, and a good designer can point you in a right direction. Our favorite is Termageddon. I'll link that below. That's what we use and that's what we send our clients to, because I'm not an attorney, but it's a great platform that you can use to generate those. Maybe you want someone to help you with your SEO, and maybe you need a marketing coach. Once you build your website, how are you going to get it in front of people, right? That's really important. So make sure that you are thinking about the marketing aspect of things, not just the get the website live. It is not a situation of if you build it, they will come. Okay, it's just way too crowded online right now. You have to market a website, and anybody who tells you I'm going to build you a site and get your first page on Google without having to do the hard work of marketing, they're lying to you, and you need to run away faster. Okay, they're not your person. So some interview questions when you're thinking about working with someone, some questions you might want to ask is, can I see your portfolio or some of your recent work? If you're looking to build a membership site, take a look at the membership sites that they've built. If you're looking to build an e-commerce site, go check those out. You want to know what it is that they do and what their capabilities are. You probably also want to see some testimonials or some case studies or get some references. If you've been with someone who's been in business for a long time, they should have plenty of testimonials and things that they can share with you to back up their credibility in what they do. You might want to ask, are they just a graphic designer or are they a developer? I've worked with people who said, I hired someone to design me a website and they gave me a bunch of Photoshop files, but I don't have a website. Can you build a website? There's a difference between developer and designer. Okay, so make sure that whoever you're working with, they're also going to be building you a website, or that you are aware of that. We do both, but some people don't. Ask them what their background in marketing and SEO is. You want to make sure that you have someone who can understand the technical aspects of SEO, making sure that the site is designed properly. You also want to think about accessibility in these days, right? Like, is the site designed to be accessible for people who might be using a screen reader, for instance? Maybe you want to ask them too, how do they bill you? Do you need to pay everything up front, or are there milestone payments that you need to make? Is it hourly or is it a package rate? Those kind of things are really important to know when you're getting into an agreement with a developer or a designer. You probably want to know about how long your website will take. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a designer, it's going to depend on the complexity of the project and when we get the content and the copy and that kind of stuff for you. 9 times out of 10, if a website doesn't launch in the time frame that we have estimated, it's because we're waiting on assets and we can't finish on time. And then ask too, do they offer training on how to use your site so that you can have something that you feel comfortable using? I'm really really, really passionate about making sure that my clients know how to use their website. They may hire us for a website care plan and never log into their site again after the welcome home call, but I want to make sure that they are the admin on the site just in case, and I also want to make sure that they know how to log in, that they have access to the site, so that they're never held hostage. If for some reason they want to go somewhere else, or maybe they want to do some DIY stuff, I want them to be able to do that. You may ask them about a guarantee. Do you offer a guarantee? Now, most of them are not going to offer you like a money back guarantee, but many of them will offer you like unlimited revisions on the homepage until they get the design concept right and then move forward to the rest of the site. We always offer, in addition to making sure we get the design right with unlimited homepage revisions while we're building it, we also give you 30 days after the site is live to make sure that everything's working properly and that you're happy with your site, because that's our goal. So some questions that they may ask you, they're probably going to ask you about your budget and your timeline. They're going to ask you if you're doing your own copy or you need a copywriter, you need coaching on copy. They're going to be asking you about your photos. Do you have photos ready? Are you waiting on a branding photo shoot with a photographer? What's the timeline on that? Who is going to be involved in building this? Like, who are the team members that are a part of this website project? And who's the key person that we should go to for approval? They're probably going to ask you where you plan to host the site. Are you planning to host it yourself? Or are you looking into a website care plan? And are you going to need maintenance on the website and help with updates and, adding landing pages and things like that in the future? And do you want help with your marketing down the road? That may be something else that they ask you. So this is the checklist that I recommend. If you would like help either building a custom website, or we have a program where we will walk you through and hold your hand through a process of you building a website, leveraging AI and our tools and our information and knowledge and all of that. If you would like some help building a website, either custom or done with you, please let me know. I'll put a link to book a clarity call in the description below, as well as a link to the tools and the things that I've referenced. And if this video has been helpful for you, please go ahead and subscribe and click like and share it with your friends. I really want to get in front of new people and help them grow their business. And I would love your help in growing this channel and making that happen. So I hope this was helpful. I will see you in another video down the road. And in the meantime, happy marketing.